Don in London, hello. December the 17th, my video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour, or both substance and behaviour. My substance of addiction, alcohol, and equally behaviour around people, places and things, getting obsessed, trying to be right, working as hard as I possibly could, always being the last man out, and also the last man standing if it came to drinking. At least that's what I thought was good about my life, that I was dedicated to it, and probably in a very unhelpful way. It turned out to be very unhelpful in the end, because I couldn't stop drinking and I couldn't stop working, and I couldn't stop doing all the other obsessive things that go on when we are in the malady of addiction and don't know it yet. So a lot of years spent trying to be okay with life and not really realising I was far from okay, and I wasn't really following a path which was good for me. And if I didn't know what was good for me, who did? Well, I found people did know a better path to live life, and it's to live a unique, authentic life, which I have, which is unique and authentic to me. And the people who have been able to help me most stay sober these days, one day at a time, are in a fellowship called AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. And I share about AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, unashamedly, because it gives me experience, strength and hope and wisdom from other people on a daily basis, or however many times I go to meetings, or however many times I bump into people or talk to people on the telephone about what's going on for me and how life is just for today. So I don't speak for AA, never can, never will. It's full of unique, authentic people who share their experience, strength and hope where they will, and that's perfectly good. Many people remain anonymous because it suits their purpose in life to keep sobriety as something they do as a matter of fact, and get on with everything else in life outside fellowship. For me, anonymity was never really on the table, and I was asked to do these videos by a particular treatment centre run by the National Health Service for other people in my group, because sometimes I seem to make sense. So my videos cover how AA helps me on a daily basis when I can't get to meetings, or I just need something to remind myself that sober is best. And I do that on a daily basis because it's a 24-hour program of living. And I share from here, from the daily reflections and other literature as I am able. But first I always start with the AA preamble. And I've just come back from a morning meeting where the AA preamble is recited by everyone. And today it upsets some people, because if we recite something from memory, maybe we lose our feeling for it. So I have a purposeful forgetting when it comes to anything in the literature, because if I can recite it, it doesn't mean it means anything anymore. I have to feel it. I have to feel it in the moment of now for it to mean something. So I always share the AA preamble, shared at every meeting of AA, simply because the words are important to me, and maybe to other people too. So here we go. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy. So the fellowship is there to talk about sobriety, but everybody who goes is allied with their own sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institutions, depending on their life experience. But we don't bring our politics and religion into the rooms to try and convert people to our point of view. Everybody has their own point of view, which is unique and authentic to them. It neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And in this book of daily reflections, it covers the 12 steps which are for a person to learn about how to live a unique, authentic life. 12 steps to put into practice and be part of our principles of living. And they are about living an open, honest and willing life with truth at its core, which is essential for me, because for me truth is the spiritual connection to this moment of living, and spiritual is living in the moment of now, as far as I've come to understand it. It's being fully in the moment rather than daydreaming about what has happened yesterday, be it good or bad, or daydreaming about the future too much because it hasn't happened yet. So if my mind is in the moment where I can feel life as it is and think about it, then life seems to go along reasonably well. And going to a meeting in the morning where people are a bit grumbly because it's coming up to Christmas and it used to be a time of good cheer and much alcohol, it can now be almost like we can't do what other people are doing. And some people call those out there the amateurs and the civilians who are not addicts, as if we were professional drinkers. Well, just because we could drink a lot didn't make us professional drinkers, nor are they civilians out there. We're joining the civilians on a daily basis and probably putting a little bit more action into what is good for us than waiting for something to fix us. So fellowship is not about being fixed, it's about living and feeling and thinking about what's going on. So the daily reflection for today, a priceless reward, December 17th. Excuse me, my arms ache. I've been to the doctor and had one flu jab in one arm and a pneumonia jab in the other arm, so they're like dead weights at the moment. These things we do in recovery to keep well. A priceless reward. Work with other alcoholics. It works when other activities fail. Life will take on new meaning, as the big book says on page 89, which is about the promises in recovery. This promise has helped me to avoid self-seeking and self-pity, to watch others grow in this wonderful program. To see them improve the quality of their lives is a priceless reward for my effort to help others. Self-examination is yet another reward for an ongoing recovery, as are serenity, peace and contentment, as life experience offers. Sometimes it doesn't offer any of those things, but it gives us a firm ground in terms of knowing our feelings and thinking to walk through hell and don't stop in it. The energy derived from seeing others on a successful path, of sharing with them the joys of the journey, gives to my life a new meaning. And that's the end of the reading. But when it says there, sharing with them the joys of the journey gives to my life a new meaning. Joys of the journey, and it can be sadness of the journey as well, because we're alert and alive and aware when the bad things happen. So maybe we don't stay so long in the bad parts of living and getting depressed overly. We can get depressed because life is depressing. That's normal reactions to what's going on. So it's not a defect to have the sad side of life, or the unhappy side of life, or the angry side of life. It's to what extent do our feelings fit our current experience. And when our feelings fit the current experience, where somebody's really trodden on our toes deliberately, yes, we are angry, but then we may be we will deal with it in a different way. It's coming up to 9 minutes, so I've decided this could be a turning off point, and I'm going to continue on with a bit from the 12 steps and 12 traditions, which I find interesting. I'm all about step 12, which is sharing the message with other people wherever we can in an appropriate way, and that's where I always get into contention. But so far, yes, helping others is key, and so I'll say the Serenity Prayer now, which helps me in any moment, and it helped me today. Coming away from that meeting, we always say the Serenity Prayer at the end, because it means something to me, and I feel it, and it goes like this: whether you believe in God or not, or you just simply believe in good conscience, your good conscience, and deploying it more often than getting your own back. This is how it works. To God, or good conscience, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. For me, it's just for today. And the wisdom to know the difference is, what am I going to do which is helpful to me and to other people, and what is the best way forward? So it stops me in my tracks when anger might make me want to react. Anyway, I move on now to the other bit which I'm interested in sharing. It comes from the 12 steps and 12 traditions, the 12 and 12. And the 12th step, where have I put that? Yeah, it's here. It's on this little card. And the reason why I'm sharing it from here rather than reciting it off the top of my head is because I do purposefully forget, simply because I don't want to be a reciter of things. I want to share what's going on for me. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. And as a counterbalance to that, on the tradition side, which are all about keeping the fellowship secure and safe in unity, service and recovery, it says here, anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. So anonymity, spiritual foundation of the fellowship, and for me truth is my spiritual foundation for living in the moment. So that can lead me into all sorts of discussions around, is it right to do these videos in a public way? Or is anybody interested if they're not an alcoholic? And so far the answer is no. Nobody's interested if they're not an alcoholic. Why should they be? Anyway, tradition 12. It says here, as a rule, the average newcomer wanted his family to know immediately what he was trying to do. Or in my case, my sister pushed me through the doors of AA, go in there and sort yourself out. And what did I do? I didn't go back for 5 because I was tormented, rebellious, and thought I knew better. I didn't know better. But I had to go down to another rock bottom and find that I couldn't do it on my own before I could actually say, okay, I need some help. It goes on to say, he also wanted to tell others who had tried to help him, his doctor, his minister and close friends. As he gained confidence, he felt it right to explain his new way of life to his employer and business associates. When opportunities to be helpful came along, he found he could talk easily about AA to almost anyone. These quiet disclosures helped him to lose his fear of the alcoholic stigma. And don't forget, the most prejudiced people around the addiction to alcohol, or any addiction, are those who have got it because they don't want it, and I certainly didn't want to be an alcoholic. So prejudice started with me, and then I believed everybody else was equally prejudiced against me. And believe you me, I felt death would be preferable. Anyway, it says, these quiet disclosures helped him to lose his fear of the alcoholic stigma and spread the news of AA's existence in his community. Many a new man and woman came to AA because of such conversations. Though not in the strict letter of anonymity, such communications were well within its spirit. Now, it goes on to the next bit, and this is where it can be a bit contentious. But it became apparent that the word-of-mouth method was too limited. Our work, as such, needed to be publicised. The AA groups would have to reach quickly as many despairing alcoholics as they could. Consequently, many groups began to hold meetings which were open to interested friends and the public, so that the average citizen could see for himself just what AA was all about. The response to these meetings was warmly sympathetic. Soon groups began to receive requests for AA speakers to appear before civic organisations, church groups and medical societies. Provided anonymity was maintained on these platforms and reporters present were cautioned against the use of names or pictures, the result was fine. And the next bit I'll talk about another day, but essentially there is a difficulty with us who have had the malady and moved from the malady or the problem into the solution, is that we want to shout it from the rooftops in a way which says we can fix you, and the answer is we can't. And that if we feel that our sobriety is strong enough to go share it on a public platform and then gain something out of that disclosure, where ego and other, I suppose, status and maybe financial reward might be involved. Well, not in my case. I do these for people who are in recovery or just approaching recovery, and it's about sharing a message of experience, strength and hope. And all I know is only those who are interested in sobriety in some way tend to watch them, and certainly to this length into the video. So, steps and traditions. The steps for individuals to stop committing suicide, we often say, and the traditions are there to stop us committing homicide. So the steps are about open, honest, willing behaviour and seeking out the truth of a situation and life today. 24-hour program, and those 12 steps help me every day. And the 12 traditions equally important. I might not agree entirely with the way they are worded or written, but they are suggestions, and we don't violate suggestions because they're not rules. If there were rules in AA, there wouldn't be any AA. Simple as that. And it came across in the meeting today that anything which involves rules about how we conduct ourselves, like sharing the preamble where we all sit and say it together, rubs people up the wrong way sometimes because it's droning on. And that's because a recitation is not actually said with feeling often, because the feeling is forgotten because it's repeated over and over again. Now, I purposefully forget and don't remember because it suits me to do that, because I want it to be fresh for today. Life is just for today. And I've had enough now, and I'm sure you have. So what helps me when I'm trying to help other people, which I've been doing all week, and I'm quite tired out, and I need to look after myself, so I'm going to get myself an hour's sleep. I've only had 2 hours in the last 24. I have insomnia as one of the other things that I contend with on a daily basis. I'm probably euphoric from lack of sleep. I don't know. I feel happy in myself. What more can I ask for? So to God or good conscience, as you come to understand with the serenity prayer or meditation or whatever you want to call it, the can do and cannot do of life, what I can do and what I cannot do, and the wisdom learned daily, new wisdom, not the same old wisdom, new wisdom daily about life. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference for me will always be just for today.